If you don't have a Turkish towel, you're not living life, people. You want a Turkish towel. And what was that? What they did with the towel that they had it all wrapped up? That was really cool when we went down there. Those
it was a
were...
towel that you could fold into a bag, so you could carry it and carry other stuff, and then unfold it. And I will say they had some blankets down there. I'm not sure that that's what they would call them, but they were blankets to me. So nice.
And they have so much cheese. Nice. They have so much cheese.
The cheese guy was there. That cheese is good.
Right.
Everything we had there was good. The muffins.
Yeah.
You can't eat a lot of those muffins.
No,
though.
well, you can't eat a lot of the cheese because you won't crap for about a month if you eat all that cheese. I mean, you can spend so much time eating cheese.
But they do have, fruits and vegetables.
I had some cheese last night, Karen Woodson, that the wife bought, and I'm a little stopped up today, but you can't turn the cheese away.
Thank you for sharing that. That's great information to have. For
Here comes Brad Foreman again. I mean, he's like a groupie. I mean, all he does is take pictures.
He loves pictures.
Yeah. He does. He loves. He's going
to be running your media campaign next.
There you go. I'll take it. All the help I can get.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, she needs no introduction. She is well known around town for all of her volunteering and all of her committee work. It's Karen Woodson, and she is running for the Fort Myers Beach Town Council, which I didn't think I was going to ever say after the last time you were here. So obviously, the first question is, what changed your mind?
You know what really changed my mind was the overwhelming support that I got from when I announced that I wasn't running, and then people came out of the woodwork, and it's like, what do you mean you're not running? I mean, you have to run. You're part of this framework. You're part of this community. And so that just gave me real solid encouragement. And then also I started thinking about all the committees and boards that I'm on. And if, when I'm elected, I'll say when.
When
I'm elected.
Very nice.
That's right.
I have to get off 2 of them anyway. I have to get off Board Cab, and I have to get off LPA because they're extensions, ad hoc for the chambers. So,
you could be a liaison if you wanted to, or they appointed you to, but you have to.
Plus, how much time? I mean, it's that town council takes it's a big commitment of time.
Yeah, it is.
And it's not, people aren't doing it for the money. I give everybody on there credit because it just seems like a lot of work, and you're not always everybody's favorite person, I would imagine.
That's true. I think I gotta get a tough skin going here.
I think so.
You do, or you got to get one? Do you have one?
I have one. I've been in HR for 35 plus years.
My, I didn't know that.
I have, human resource management. So you end up having a tough skin, whether you want to or not.
All right, so
and you have to be able to sit for a long time.
They do take breaks.
They do.
They do take breaks.
I mean, they deserve some breaks. It's
wow. The good news is you're not on a Steve Johnson committee because there's those meetings go on and on for 6 hours.
He's just joking.
I told Steve I was going to talk about him today, so
he asked you to be kind.
I'll save it for after the show.
Okay.
So Karen, let's get into the issues now because it's all about the issues.
Be nice to me.
Yes, of course. What is that hat looks lovely on you, by the way. Baby blue is perfect. The first issue I want to ask you about is the jet ski issue. It's been a big story for the last few weeks. And what is your opinion on the ordinance and the whole Margaritaville thing? And lay it all out there where you stand on that.
Well, I was really, really happy that the town council pulled it back in for review. When this came to the LPA, I mean, we had an evening's notice that this was coming to us. We didn't know anything about it. So in all fairness, without reading all of the ordinances and the amendments, I mean, we were not ready to make a blanket decision. But then we went back and looked at everything, and there's just, nothing's been done on this for 25 years. It's just kind of rolled along. And I was disappointed that the ordinances were not really paid attention to or thought about or enforced.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's a big thing that has to be addressed. But I also want to make sure that it's in alignment with where we are at this
currently
year. This is 25 years old. And so I think going back, things change. Going back, re-looking at everything in fairness to the water sport people who this is their livelihood, in fairness of not just Margaritaville, but there's going to be other big hotels and complexes, whether we like it or not, it will change. And
so
it just has to be looked at again.
Do you think the hotels, not just Margaritaville, if there are other hotels, should be able to self-perform despite there being a cap on it now?
I personally like the idea of a cap. There was a reason the cap was put in place. Everybody talks about safety and not being overwhelmed on the beach. And I still think that that's something that should be respected. But I also go back to, these are professionals. These water sports people, they have been around for a long, long time, and they're professional and they know what they're doing. And why would someone want the liability at a private company or a franchise or a corporation? I mean, these guys, they know their business.
All that aside, though, should they be able to self-perform if there's a cap and they can't work out a deal or not?
I think they have to have a license. And if there's a cap on the license and not available, then I think that if going through all these amended ordinances and everything else, if it comes out that there still should be a cap, then that's the decision.
Do you think it's okay for one operator to own 5 licenses? Is that okay?
I don't mind the fact that they own 5 licenses. It's like owning 5 restaurants. What it shouldn't be is that one is dormant.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That is my opinion.
Okay.
But people own multiple restaurants, multiple.
What about
stores.
The spacing of them?
That I think is something that should be looked at. I understand that that's not in compliance and it hasn't really been reinforced. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's one of the things we need to go back and look at.
Because I think, whether you cap it or not, if there's a certain distance that that there's a determination by somebody somewhere or an agency that this is a safe distance for operating, then it sort of kind of takes care of itself.
This is the issue that I think gets everybody upset. There was some determination that 500 feet was the safety the safety number.
And who knows if that's even the right determination.
But my point is that then there was grandfather clause which allowed people to be inside the 500-foot thing, which really, these are safe operators that we have on the beach now. There's nobody's questioning that, but it's not 500 feet. It's not really 500 feet. And so, I mean, should they be 500 feet and not grandfathered in? Should they be 750? Should they be? I mean, who determines that?
I don't know who determines. I'm not the expert on it.
Right. Who is?
I wonder if there's like an international or a national organization,
or
even, for water sports,
or even through their insurance. I mean, Chris Weber was saying when Dan asked the question in the town council meeting, like who inspects these places? I don't know anything about it.
And
Chris
but the insurance company does come and check them.
That the insurance company comes. So,
I don't think anybody knew that until Chris went up there and said that.
No, I don't think so either.
So they're inspecting the machines, but as far as the distance,
but maybe there's some compliance.
I don't want to get hung up on one issue for the whole show. One last question on that. When you hear somebody that works for the town stand up at a council meeting and say, we're not enforcing this ordinance and we haven't been enforcing this ordinance at all, what do you think about that?
I think that's very troublesome. Very troublesome, and I think that needs to be addressed.
Okay. All right. So on to the next issue. Speaking of that being addressed, we have a town manager here. How do you grade the town manager, A being the best, F being the worst?
Well, let's take a step back before I get into the grading. I would really like to understand, where was the town on all the performance issues? Did Roger have, or anyone in this position, not just Roger, anybody who comes in this position, they have goals, they have objectives, they have accountabilities, they have performance reviews. Mm-hmm. Has any of that taken place? To my knowledge,
I can answer. No. I can answer what I know is in Roger's contract because I read it regularly. He's supposed to be reviewed before the end of the final May meeting at a public town council meeting. So there are 2 meetings left. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can review somebody at a management planning session, but the council has 2 meetings left to review him publicly at a council meeting, and we'll see. But
we'll see.
From what you've seen, should his contract be extended, or should the town start a transition now?
I think the town really needs to start the review process and look at the work that he has done. I also think, and anytime, this is just good business, you go out and take the opportunity when a contract is coming to an end. You know, if you were working with construction crews, you do an RFP. If you're working in HR or, you know, recruiting, that type of thing, you go out and you canvass and you see who is the best candidate, what other talent is out there, so that you do have options. I don't know. I've never seen that the town do that. So I would hope that we could kind of change the way we look at this and not be so reactive, but be a little bit more progressive about things.
One of the things that happened, and I'll let you ask the next one, dear. Sorry. One of the things that happened before this new council came on was during the Gore and Bobarino regime, was they extended Roger's contract during a time where an election was just about to happen and the new people didn't get a chance to give any input, and they added time onto his contract. What would you think if this council did the same thing this year?
Well, I think there is the new council, I believe, should have input on this. I don't think you have to extend for a year. I think if you get started on reviews and everything right now, you could extend for a month after the election if you really needed to. But at the same time, why not be out there searching and see what other kind of talent is there too, so that you have a framework and you have options. Options are key.
Yeah.
I was wondering if there is, and you may or may not know this, if during the review process, is there already established goals and objectives and like a form that they're going to use for a review of somebody? Because I think that's,
well, there should be.
I was going to say that's pretty standard, right?
It's very, well, it's certainly standard in corporate America.
Okay. So maybe not in, I don't know.
You know, when Roger
I truly
was
do
hired,
not know. You're smiling like I'm being sarcastic, and I truly do not know. All right.
I think you know everything, so I don't know why you're getting on my case about things. I'm not running for anything. I'm trying to smile, dear.
Right.
People are taking pictures and
I say stuff and then I get in trouble for it. And it's like, no, I genuinely did not know.
Well, and if you want to know, I mean, you have to ask. But, you know, the reality is I don't know what kind of performance basis that Roger has been held accountable for.
Okay.
Well, how could you know? You're not in there. You're not.
Right.
I mean, maybe eventually.
But I know it's been asked for a review. And I don't think I've ever seen the review.
No, the last I don't want to rewind it, but there has not been a public review.
No,
I know Dan tried to move things along, and it got squashed. When you can't count votes and you only have 2, it's not going anywhere. But so the next issue, if it's okay, dear, my conducting this interview okay for you? I know
there's a great segue based on what she just said. I know you're a rose between two thorns, right?
Go right ahead, then say it.
So talking about reviews and putting out RFPs, the lighting, the last meeting.
Here we go. Yep.
That, I mean, I was at the meeting. It was.
I was watching.
Is there a question you're going to ask the candidate for office? A question?
What do you think about how it's gone thus far and recently?
Well, just recently, and getting rid of the consultant, I think is great. I mean, we have had so many committee meetings, so many smart people looking at all the different options. I don't think we need any more consultants.
Thank you.
I think we have enough information and smart enough people on those committees and on the council that can make this decision. I think the biggest issue is, you know, this new amber lighting that is supposed to be coming out.
Visionaire.
The Visionaire. And what if, you know, what if it's not right? And then where are we? What's the second choice?
Right. Well, that Cree one, I guess, is there too. But that Visionaire that somebody mentioned at the meeting, that FDOT had already approved it, but it's still got to go through FWC and all of that.
The vision, that light is what's up here at the corner. That's the light that's up here. The county put in that light, and you can see that it's a bright orangey yellowish light. So are you done with your question, dear? Or can I move on to you have a question?
And
you guys just kibitzing.
No, go ahead.
All right.
I like to have
So
conversation.
I know.
You just like to go for the
yeah. So let's go right for it. If you are elected, will you vote for the council giving Eddie Rood and Kurt Cromer their walkover?
That.
That's a hot potato too, Ed. Thank you. There's definitely two sides to this. There is definitely our environment and our beaches and our birds and our nesting and all of these things that are so important to the island and to our prosperity. But there's also the rights of homeowners and what they do with their property. And but as long, to me, there should be some kind of agreement and way to do this. I always say collaboration is key.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, working together with the environmental people, with, construction people to make this happen. And, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's already been an accommodation made for Mr. Rood by the state. So I'm not sure.
I don't know by the state, but I know the town approved something on his front porch that was ADA. It made it more ADA accessible. But I think that's a whole different issue.
Okay.
I don't think you answered, so I'll ask it in a different way. If you are elected to the town council, would you like to see them stop spending money on the lawsuit?
No matter what, I want to see them stop spending money on the lawsuit. And
so
that's
should they grant them? There's a chance that you could lose the CWA if the state declares that they own the property.
There's so many complicated discussions to be had. And I would really like to see if there's any chance to do mediation within.
They had mediation yesterday and it didn't work.
It didn't work.
Okay.
All right.
And so if you were on, let's just look at, let's say December rolls around and you're voted in on the town council, and Ray has wanted to bring this issue up, and he says, let's vote on this, whether we should give Eddie Rood and Kurt Cromer a dune walkover. Are you going to vote yes or no?
Right now I'm not going to say because
fair enough.
I want to get more information so that I can make an educated decision.
There you
I've
go.
heard everybody's comments and input and everything, and I personally don't know Eddie Rood.
So you're on the fence on the walkover right now.
Yeah,
Is that fair?
I want more information.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So there do you. Okay.
I had to take a break to put the sunscreen on because you got us out here.
I love it out here, though.
Why?
See you guys. I love it
out here today. What am I going to get in trouble?
I don't think you'll get in trouble.
Not.
Roger will put a lien on my box.
One time you have me as a candidate out here, and we're out in the middle of Times
I just
Square.
want you all to know that Karen did not have anything to do with this.
Right.
She was totally against it.
Disclaimer.
And I'm sure I'm going to get a ticket or a lien on my box or a lien on my computer that I'll have to find Terry Prasad's lawyer to help me out with. But we just want to, it's so nice out today. And when we're inside, we're in their way. They're trying to get to the coffee thing. And every once in a while, we like to come outside. It's been so great because we love to promote Times Square. We're not trying to get in anybody's way. We're not trying to do anything in a negative way. And the other part of it, Karen, is when the TV stations come out here, they don't get chased away and they don't get ticketed. So, I mean, I'm not a TV station or anything like that, but
you are the TV, the
thank
news
you.
of
Thank
the
you.
beach.
Thank you.
Beach
Dear,
Talk
what's
Radio.
you're gonna make her sick right there. What is your next question, dear? Go right ahead. Jump in.
Go
there.
ahead. That just threw
All
me
right.
right off my game.
All right. Community policing is the next issue.
That's a
I
good
want to
one.
talk about that.
I do like that one.
Okay. One of the things that happens on occasion is that a committee like the Public Safety Committee will recommend something to town council and the town council will totally ignore it. The Public Safety Committee wanted more than 2 community police officers and the council didn't have enough votes. If you were elected tomorrow to the town council, would you vote yes or no on community policing?
I do believe we need more policing. We're growing. I mean, we are absolutely growing. I read your article about just the tram this past season. The tram participation more than doubled.
Yeah.
That means that we have more than double the tourists on this island during this past season than we've had ever.
Right.
And granted, I mean, I respect our police that are here, and I really thank the extra auxiliary police that come out.
There goes the
during
tram
time.
now, Karen.
I
And
know.
today is the
It
last day. It ends
I
tomorrow.
know.
There'll be no more tram
It's
tomorrow.
pretty empty though today.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I think that the town would have to pay for the tram, and if they had to pay for the tram during the off season, I still think it would be great. I mean, people love the tram.
Nice. They do love the
they
tram.
paid $138,000 to a consultant they don't like. Why not pay for the tram for something they love? People love the tram.
Well, and does it even have to be a free tram? Could it be 50
I think
cents? Could it be quarter?
Great,
Could it be
great idea.
$1?
You should run for office. That's a great idea. Why does everything have to be free?
About that.
Yeah. So what was the question?
No free lunch.
I forgot the
About
question.
community police.
Community policing.
Yes.
No, and what I was saying is I really think that the people on this island, the current policemen, they're fantastic.
Of course.
But we don't have enough. And we need people that understand the island, know the little nuances, know where the holes are, that they can keep track of things. And that only comes with being ingrained in the community.
Well, why I also
do
like
think
to
we
be
need
out
more.
here is you see people walking by. Now that girl's hair is that's some cool hair. That is
Look
some
at
cool
that
hair.
beautiful
Now you're going to
hair.
see her walk behind us. Now
Beautiful.
that's some cool hair right there. You're not going to see that inside because all you see is the fire extinguisher behind
Well,
us.
that's true. And you can't
So-
hear anything inside.
No, everybody, look, they're all watching.
I know,
they're
watching
here
us. We're
paying
watching.
attention.
We
They're
should
paying attention
burn
to you,
up.
Karen, because you're a big deal on this beach. How did you become such a big deal? All this volunteering and the Friends of Lovers Key and Bay
Look at
Oaks
that.
Committee
He's got a camera on his hat.
and
That's
the
pretty cool.
wow,
I like
pretty
that.
that is cool. You're not going to see that inside. You're just going to see the fire extinguisher in a big box behind us, and the LPA and this and that and the other thing. And so
It took me 3 times to get on the LPA
why?
because I was not voted in.
Who wouldn't vote you in? I mean,
know.
who's the hater out there? Let's call him
there
out.
was not a hater at all. Quite honestly, the second time there was only 1 seat open, and Patrick, who is an amazing planner, comes from that entire background and everything.
Mhm.
He should have been on there because
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
he's
yeah,
amazing.
he knows his stuff.
Then it was the next year, but no, I mean we moved here. Well, we had been vacationing here for many, many years. We also looked at all the non-taxable state tax states. Did you
Mhm.
get that? Non-taxable state tax states.
No idea what you said. but-
So we looked at all these different states, Nevada, Arizona, Texas. Where did we want to retire? And we kept coming back here because I am a palm trees and beach girl.
yeah,
So when we got here, well, first off, you retire, then you're moving, then you get down here and you're remodeling and and then all of a sudden, all of that was over.
yeah,
And it's like, well, now what do I do?
yeah.
Right.
So
So-
after being, so I just jumped in with both feet.
So
Basically.
when you decide you're going to run and you sit down with your husband, who could be the nicest person on this beach,
I know.
and you say to your
Oh,
husband,
look
Mark,
at him. He's over there.
yeah,
Is he
Yeah.
smiling?
you say to your husband, Mark, I'm going to run
He is
for
now.
I'm going
He's
to
out.
run for town council.
Pay attention.
Does he look at you and say, I'm going to strangle you? Or what was his? I'm sure he said, I'm with you 100%. What was it? Give us the honest answer.
He said, I guess you're going to do what you want to do.
I see.
There you go.
She says that to me all the time. I know what that feeling
So
is.
I said, you can just stand there and look pretty because he does. I mean, he looks really good all the time, right?
I can't. I'm not
And
going to
he's
comment on
very
that.
tall.
He's
Yeah.
very tall. He's
What is he?
6'6".
6'5"? 6'6". Wow.
Yep, 6'6".
Oh wow.
But yeah, no, he's supportive. No ifs, ands, or buts. He kind of challenges me a lot on things that he's got an opinion. Mark is retired military, so military for 37 years of service in
Oh,
the Air
wow.
Force.
Wow. Nice.
huge.
Did he kill anybody?
Wow.
Maybe me once in a while
Oh,
he'd
he-
like to, but no.
He kills people and breaks
no,
things.
he does not.
He
was
looks like such a nice guy, but
he was-
behind him,
He was a
could
crew
kill
chief.
people and
no,
break
he was
things.
a crew chief. He kept all those C-130s flying through
Oh,
battle
wow.
and
Now, did
everything
he
else.
fly or
No,
Morning.
he does not
he looks
fly.
pilotish?
He knows how to fly. He knows how to
Yeah.
land that plane. I know for sure.
Yeah. There you go.
But no, he keeps the plane running.
Very
That's
cool.
why he's like Mr. Magician. He knows every mechanical thing that you can
Oh,
possibly
wait, who's
do.
running? Are you running or is he running?
I
Let's
don't
stick to
know.
the
Well,
issues
he's
here,
gonna be
Karen.
next to me.
I
He's
see.
going to be my first lady. My first man.
The first man.
My first man.
Yeah, your first man.
my
When
first
when you bring up men, lady, and the whole thing, there's nothing you can say anymore that's
No.
going to be
He's gonna
anything
be
but
your first
offensive.
He's
person.
going to
Right.
be my first person.
So, what is your opinion on the mayor? Is he doing a good job running the town in whatever capacity he runs it? I know it's a kind of this isn't a negative thing. This is how they say it's a strong town manager and a weak mayor kind of thing. It has nothing to do with him. But what is your opinion on how he's running the council meetings and things like that?
I think we need a lot of improvement overall. I think the council at least what I've seen since I've lived here, has been very reactive instead of planful.
What do you mean by that?
It's kind of the topic of the day, or something happens and you kind of go to that topic and you go to other topics, and it's just reactive. Now, granted, there are always going to be issues that come up that you have to address, and you have to address it quickly. But I think there's key in addressing things quickly, getting a consensus, making a decision, and moving forward. And then there's the whole other issue of planning and development. I mean, we need a plan for this island. We need a plan for the next 30 years. What are we doing? You know, we've got construction everywhere. We have ideas for Times Square. Bay Oaks has actually started, which I'm really excited about. So I've been in the planning for that. I think our beach, Bayside, is going to be finished within the next 3 to 4 months. But we need a plan. Where do we go beyond this?
What is your opinion on putting the mooring field behind Town Hall?
You know, if I were the people on the moorings, and I had to come into the center of the island, away from all of the restaurants and all of this type of thing, I personally, I wouldn't like it. I think, you know, being up here at the north end and having more space. And the other thing, I really don't understand why we have to own it.
Yeah.
I don't understand that part, and I don't know all the intricacies of any of that. But what I do know is that it's a very small percentage of our population that we're giving a lot of attention to,
and a lot of money,
and a lot of money, and there's all kind of other issues that are probably should be looked at before that.
So the town owns that property, right?
They do now.
Okay. So what else could they do with that property if they don't use it as
a loaded question?
It's an open-ended question.
That's a loaded question. Did you guys watch the town council meeting? I know you did. And the gentleman from Lee County who talked about housing, affordable housing.
Yes.
Perfect spot.
Yes. Perfect.
Perfect. That is
perfect spot for that. Granted, that takes, we need affordable housing. If we're going to get our servers, I mean, when Margaritaville opens and they're hiring a couple hundred people, where are these people coming from?
Well, you know, but even now, it's difficult and it's expensive for people to come down. I've parked in the parking lots, and I see the workers get out, pay for their parking. Now they're already $10-20 in the hole before they've even, gotten to work. So,
and what he said, which was really interesting to me, is like, there's a difference between government subsidy housing and affordable housing.
Right.
And there are definite
workforce housing.
There's a lot of affordable housing. I mean, these people are working. They are going to be paying rent. They are, that would be one of the qualifications.
Right.
They got to build a framework around that. It's not just giving away housing, but
when he was
needed.
When he was talking about the numbers of how much, I think it was 30% of your income should go to your housing, and how, and then he put up the numbers of, I know how much the rents are.
It's 60%.
Right.
People can't sustain that.
No.
They can't live like that.
Nope.
So
why should people vote for Karen Woodson?
I really care. I really, really care about this community. I love it. I think people that know me already know that I'm a very open-minded, thoughtful decision maker. I'm a thinking person. I will take a lot of input from a lot of people, but then I'll decide the way I want to decide. So leadership, I've had a ton of leadership positions, management positions, taking all of my background in organizational design, performance management. I don't think we've ever had that on our town council that I know of. But no, I think they'll find me to be true to my word. I had a manager one time tell me her word is her code. So if you trust and you believe in her strengths, then just let her go, because she'll make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so you don't have a website yet, but I know you're working on
I'm
one.
working on one, yes.
When next week you'll have something that people can donate and
Yes.
see all your platform and
Yep.
things like that. And we'll, like all the candidates, we'll make sure that we'll push that out there. And
That would
do
be
you
great.
want people to contact you if they have questions, or how you putting your information out there just yet, or you want to wait till next week? It's completely up to you to say whatever you want to say here.
No, I mean, they can contact me. I know it's public record of everything that was admitted. I have my email address on there. My cell phone is on there. I am open to conversations, whatever it may be, but I'm also getting this whole Facebook page going for that. I'm getting a website going.
Cool.
So people,
It's the real
people will
deal.
be able to reach out to me. I know it's kind of getting real. It's getting scary. It's getting real.
Have you heard of anybody else that's gonna jump in the race? We got
Outside
four
of those
candidates
four,
right now.
I have not. Have you?
I think Steve Johnson is flip-flopping back and forth, and I think he's going to jump in because he's an egomaniac. And
he is not.
No, he's not an egomaniac.
He is not an egomaniac, and I do not think he's going to jump in.
He runs 6-hour meetings like no other.
He's got a big job.
Yeah, I like to kid him because he could take it. He's like you. He could take the ribbing, and
he is just joking.
He flip flops on. I mean, there's still time to decide. You have until the end of June for people. They don't. You could say no right up until June 16th.
Our wedding anniversary, June 17th.
Wow,
what a way to celebrate, huh?
And so you'll be collecting signatures at some point too.
I am collecting signatures. I'm actively doing that right now.
You only need 50, so that's like.
No, they said that you really need to get about 70 because if people don't fill it out exactly like their voter registration
then
card,
they get kicked out.
then it's going to be flipped out.
And for those of you that want to sign petitions for candidates, the rules are you can sign them all if you want, but you have to be a resident of Fort Myers Beach. If you don't live on the beach and you can't vote, you can't. That's going to be invalidated. So you're just wasting time doing that. For the candidates, they need to have 49 valid candidate signatures, voter signatures, or pay a $508 fee is what I think it is, or it's around there at some point.
I actually thought it was $675.
It's still, I mean, it's so much easier to get the signatures than pay. Who wants to pay that?
What a great way to introduce yourself to people that you don't know, get their signature, talk to them. I mean, that's how you get ingrained in the community, is talk to the people. So that's what I'm all about.
Well, thank you so much, Karen. I'm sure we're going to have you on many times before the election. It's so way early, but we're glad you're in the race.
Well, I only live 2 blocks away, so
it's easy
come
to
over anytime.
If
somebody bails out, we just call Karen. Bring her over here.
She'll get out here.
Thanks, Karen, and good luck in the race.
Thank you so much.
Karen Woodson, everybody, a big hand for Karen Woodson, running for town council, and that election is coming up in November. This November. My wife is so afraid of the sun, and I wish I had some darkening lotion to put on me. It's episode number 215, everybody, and we're so excited to be back outside. We don't know if we'll be back outside next week because